Hey there, it's Carlin Hall from Internet Famous VIP, and I teach bloggers how to create and sell digital products. How are you? It's day 17 of the February live stream challenge, and today's theme is rant or sermon. And those of you who have done this journey with me a while, you probably know I love rants and sermons. And I didn't know, since I've already done, I think, a couple already this month, even when it wasn't the day for that, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. But I finally came up with something that I wanted to share. So I want to talk today about copycats. Copycats. It's a very hot topic in our line of work. You know, here it is. We are creating content, whether it's text, blogging, writing, ebooks, or creating courses, or videos. There are all these different things that we create, and we spend a lot of our time and our intellect and our ideas putting these things together. And then sometimes after a while, it comes to our attention, or someone else points out to us that there's someone else doing something similar. And if we happen to take a peek at what they're doing, it looks a little too similar. And some of you might even have this copycat. You might be dealing with a copycat now, or you might have had in the past. And that person might even be on your list, on your email list, or in your group or something like that. And that can be seriously annoying. Now, if you are dealing with someone who is trying to, take your content and sell it as their own, or, do anything really illegal like that, there are things that you can do. And there's, you could contact their host and basically you let people know that there's a copycat, they're copycatting your stuff, and you show your proof and you say, this is mine. But that's not really that's not what I'm talking about today. I want you to think about the fact that there are going to be copycats in this business. So aside from the really pain in the butt people that are really trying to rip off anything that you created and try to sell it as their own, that's a whole other level of copycat. But that actually happens less than you think. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because it does, but it happens less than you think. But the normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill copycat, those happen a lot, and definitely enough to get under your skin. So I want to talk about those people today. So the first thing I want you to know, please, 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 people who are copycats, you've heard the saying, cheaters never prosper. Well, the same thing goes for copycats. Copycats don't prosper. It might seem like it, but they're really not. Now, the thing is, here you are. You are a content creator, someone who creates all kinds of, videos or blogs, music, whatever that is, whatever your intellectual property it is, and you create it every day, every week, every month, every year, and you start growing all of this great, wonderful content. Now, at a certain point of your career, or of your content creation journey, when you start seeing when you start seeing other people that seem to be doing something a little too similar to what you're doing, that's actually a sign that you're hitting critical mass. The fact that you are getting this attention from other people, it is also a sign that you are doing something right. So before you get too upset, you also have to think about the other saying that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But even more important, I want you to think about who you are. In addition to the content that you create, it's the person that you are that can never, ever, ever be duplicated. You could be someone who talks about makeup, for example. You could be, a makeup beauty blogger. You know that there's tons of beauty vloggers out there. If you go on YouTube, there's all these different kinds of people. There's boys even doing makeup vlogs now. And the point I'm making is there's only one you. And you can have 10 different beauty vloggers, and each one of them will have their own their own spin on it. It could be their age, it could be their sex, it could be their gender, it could be whatever their vibe is. We all come to the internet, our world, with our own unique experiences. You know, something might have happened to you when you were 12 years old, something that changed you forever, and it created a perspective for you that helps you do what you do. Or maybe it's something, you know, maybe something negative happened to you, and because of that you say, okay, that's never going to happen again, and because of that, that has given you a mission to do things a certain way. Everyone has that fire inside them. And even if a person sees what you're doing and they try to imitate it, they can never imitate you. They can try to copy something you're doing, but it's never going to be you. Now, as a musician, I started doing a newsletter, a mail, like a snail mail newsletter. I'm going back years. And it was really cool because no one else was doing it at the time. But I did it every week, or when I had a show coming up, and I was using Quark. Do you remember anyone use Quark? You know, a formatting program. And I had like 3-column thing, and it was really cool. And then all of a sudden I started noticing other people doing newsletters, and I was like, well, but they're writing about different things. They're not going to be writing about the same things I'm going to write about. They're not writing it in the same style that I'm writing about. They're not writing about the same topics. People, let other people write newsletters. I don't care, because I have no control over what anyone else does. I only have control over what I'm doing. But the other thing is, when I reached a certain level of consistency, of course people want to join the newsletter bandwagon and send stuff to their fans, but they didn't have the stamina that I had. They didn't have they weren't necessarily as creative as I was, but it doesn't really matter. Everyone has their little niche. You know, people have like their friends. Like, remember I was talking about like the 10 different beauty vloggers. You know, you have people that live in different parts of the world, different parts of the country, and you know, you might have an accent, or you might not have an accent, or you might like a certain kind of product, or you might prefer to do something like really outlandish kind of makeup. What I want to say is that there is room for all kinds, and there's definitely room for you. And I don't want you to feel that because you see someone starting to do something similar to you, that means that you will get less. That is not true. Take that as a sign that you're doing well and someone is inspired by what you're doing, but don't ever feel that they can somehow take away from anything that you're doing, because they can't. It's much more important that you stay swimming, that you keep swimming in your lane and not stop and look to see what other people are doing. I know now it's the Winter Olympics now, but you know, in the Summer Olympics, you know, people are swimming. And if you're swimming, doing your thing, if you take too much time to stop and look at your left and right to see what other people are doing, you will lose ground. So it's much more important to have your blinders on and keep focused on the work that you are inspired to create and the content that you are inspired to create. And the other thing about people who are copycats, they won't have your stamina because they just say, okay, I'm going to save some time by, I see what this other person is doing, I'm going to do something like that. But if that's where they're coming from, if they're not coming from some kind of foundational place of where you came from, they're definitely not going to get as far as you, because you need that foundation. Like all those years that you took of trying to figure out how this stuff works and coming up with your philosophy or why you believe what you believe, someone can't just come in and kind of take kind of like the look of what you're doing and still expect to be successful in the long run, because they don't have that foundation that you have. All of that work that you did in the beginning when no one was checking out your blog, when you didn't have any traffic and you were just learning all of the ins and outs on how the internet works, that stuff is so important. So if someone thinks that they can just come in and start doing this internet stuff by copying other people, it's not going to work for them in the long run, because they don't they didn't do the homework. They didn't get their foundation together first. And the foundation part is so important. Now, the other thing, people who are copycats, they're not original. That means they didn't have what it takes to come up with something on their own. But because you are that person who did come up with that initial idea, that means you have yet many more ideas to create. And as long as you keep coming up with ideas and you keep putting out new content, that person, these copycats, could never keep up with you. Never, ever, ever, because you are the one driving the train. They're too busy copying you to come up with their own material. And so you can't worry about those people. All you can worry about, and actually not even worry about, but all you can do is just return to that place of passion, the place that made you decide, okay, I want to have a blog about this topic because this topic is meaningful to me, and it's what it's something I care about, and it's what I want to do. And that is really where you have to keep your focus. Stay with the people who are already paying attention to you, because they know that those people are copycats. And if someone was going to jump ship from what you're doing and listen to someone else who was copying you, then they weren't really your tribe in the first place. So stay focused on the work, the art, the content that you are driven to create. And that's it. That drive, that inspiration that you have, your essence, your unique personality, your aura, the way you deliver your information, no one can copy that ever, ever, ever. And I really am loving that people are doing, live videos, because that's something you could totally never replicate. So even if someone wanted to do a blog similar to yours, all you have to do is look at the video and know that they're two different people, two different ways of speaking and delivering information and being funny or not funny. And that's just those things that you just can't copy. So I don't want you to think about the other people who are doing something similar. Just trust that the information that you are giving is valuable, and that the people that connect with your content are the people who are in your tribe and they love you and what it is that you are delivering. So keep giving it. Keep giving that content. Keep giving us your unique perspective. Keep giving us your passion and your fire and telling us what you think about and how you feel about things. And don't worry about anybody else, because you can't do anything. You have no control over anything that anyone else does. All you have control over is yourself. So we can only, do us. Do you, I'll do me, and don't worry about anyone else. Keep swimming, stay, focused on your passion, and you will succeed, and you will continue to succeed. And the copycats will eventually give up because they'll never be able to keep up with you. You have to have that foundation. You have to have those hard times, when nothing is going on. And that is where we learn, that is where we grow. When people try to do a shortcut by copying someone else, they can't succeed because they haven't learned how to start from the beginning. And you can't really replace those foundational periods. And even though you're feeling like, those days when if you were trying to, make money from it and you weren't, and you're like, wow, I'm eating a lot of, beanie weenies right now because I can't afford anything. Those are those growing pains. Those are those learning years, as I call them. But as long as you keep focused on what it is that you want to do, and you learn and you grow and you keep going, you will eventually get where you want to go. So that is my I guess, I don't know, maybe that was more sermon than rant. I don't know. But I just wanted to give you my opinion on how I feel about copycats. I don't worry about them. As long as I'm being true to who I am, who else can compete with that? No one else can be me but me. And there could be plenty of other people who talk about how to create digital products or blog or anything, but they're not me. And that's fine. There's room for all of us. So just keep doing you. I'll keep doing me. And we're not going to worry about copycats. All right? All right. Carla Lynn Hall signing out. Bye.